thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here today, together with all of these very inspiring and empowering women that I've had the privilege to hear the stories of. I think the Ladyship RoundTable and being a part of this launch is something that we need in the industry in this sector, and I'm very honored to be a part of this. I today will also like to speak quite organically and from the heart, but give you and anybody watching and any young or inspired person to come into the shipping sector, my perspective. I come from this as being a woman in shipping, a woman founder, a woman in technology, a newcomer to the shipping sector, and a part of the younger generation that's entering into this sector as well. So I think I can shed quite a lot of perspective in those directions and in those areas for any of those that are considering coming into this sector or starting their own company. And then from that, I'd like to start by saying that it wasn't necessarily my intention to come into the shipping sector to start a career within this sector at all. In fact, I did not know much about it. But having worked within the various fields of renewable energy and biotechnology and medical technology as well, working with technology in sectors and industries like agriculture and male-dominated sectors, it wasn't I wasn't unprepared for this sector, but it was quite a shock to be a part of it. So I had actually done my master's and moved to Copenhagen, Denmark, which is where I live now, and I'm home for the holidays in Canada as well. And I go between the two. But when I came to Copenhagen, I had spent many years not only doing my master's, but working in the medical and life science fields. And it was a few years in when I had lost kind of my motivation or was just changing my direction of my career. I'd finished my master's, had to decide what I wanted to do. I was ready to leave, in fact, and potentially start somewhere else or start an entirely new direction for myself when I discovered blockchain technology in this interesting area of this open source movement. I work within governance academically, and I like to think of open and democratic processes for decision making and for governing the new paradigm, our sectors, or our transition to sustainable economy. And after having done kind of this competition, this innovation and tech competition, I had met a few people that ended up being the co-founders of my company. And it was in particular my one co-founder, Morris, that had been working within the shipping sector for quite some years. And that is usually the case in Denmark as well, given that Maersk is the headquartered there and that the country itself works a lot within the shipping sector. And he was a huge proponent of decarbonization and decarbonizing the shipping sector. He opened my eyes to this entire massive global challenge that we face, that the trade and shipping and maritime sector is at the heart of, which is, as Diane mentioned earlier, 2.5% of the world's carbon, but 90% of everything that we see in front of us or we touch on a daily basis comes off of a ship. And that ship uses unrefined crude oil to move our goods around the world. And that to me was such a shocking revelation. And it also gave me a sense of motivation and challenge to hopefully try to impact this sector. And if I could, knowing that if I was able to help with this transition, it would have such a great impact on the world as well and on our sustainable development as an economy. And unfortunately, shortly after launching my company Blockchain Labs for Open Collaboration, I lost Morris in a tragic accident actually this month 3 years ago. And I was not sure whether I would keep going and whether I would be able to continue what I was doing and to continue running my company. But I did end up doing that, not only because of the outpouring of help and inspiration that I received from the industry that knew him and from my friends and colleagues, but also because there was such an important mission that we were heading for and that he had been a part of defining, which was decarbonizing the sector. So we came back together and we had basically started a program of bringing the industry together to collaborate, because often in the shipping sector, everything is quite siloed. People are siloed, our processes are siloed. The logistics sector in of itself is quite a fractioned and siloed industry. So we were bringing, and that's how I met Isabella, companies together to collaborate around issues and problems that affected them and affect the shipping sector at large, usually around decarbonization. And from there, we spun out our company, my second company now, Bunker Trace, as mentioned in the introduction. And what we work on there is how to help to transition this sector to sustainable and low carbon fuels. And we're doing that through helping to create enforcement around the new environmental legislations in the shipping sector from the International Maritime Organization. And we do that by adding physical tags to the fuel and digitally tracing the fuel, because there just is zero accountability and zero tracing in this sector. There's not a lot of data as to where the fuel is coming from. There's a lot of fraud as well. So we're hoping to open up that the entire sector and bunkering sector at large to more transparent and traceable marine fuels, as well as to transition into more sustainable fuels and to provide the technical metrics that help with sustainability reporting, with carbon initiatives, with retrofitting programs. And all that time that we've been doing this, there are some lessons that I thought it would be good to share today as well. It's quite a big ambition that we have. I recognize that. And we're in a sector that is notoriously adverse to change, that is slow to change as well. We've inherited this large industry that's been at the backbone of the economy since the dawn of time. And I think there's much to be said about how patience is a virtue. I've been working for a long time now with many other women at the helm of my company as well. In fact, I find that women are very prevalent in this sector and are the ones that are able to bring forward more of a systemic way of thinking, are the ones that help to shape and form collaboration, bring that forward to the forefront. They're often involved in sustainability initiatives, have a process-oriented way of thinking, and take leadership in this area very seriously, and are able to bring those with them on that journey. And that's something that I believe we can all do together. I think no matter how hard this is, no matter the ups and downs that you face, the losses, the hardships, the fact that it's very difficult to create change, to run a company, to manage it all, I think we can do that together, and that women together allow for that level of collaboration, and they bring forth a new perspective that we otherwise wouldn't have. So from me to all of you out there listening, I would like to say that we're in this together, and that through collaboration and through empowering each other, we can truly make a difference if we have the patience and the strength to do so. Thank you.